Let us contemplate on Ulladu Narpadu of Sri Ramana Maharshi, Shloka number 3, contemplation 3.1. So people have various opinions about the world. People say the world is real. Okay, it appears to be real. Then people say some other people's opinion, the world is unreal. Some people say world is consciousness, sentience. Some people say world is insentient. Some people say the world is source of happiness and misery. Some people say the world is neither source of happiness nor misery. Okay. So now which of this is true and why should we worry about that? Right. So we are entering into Atma Vichara or self-knowledge. Okay, which is to go inside and find out my own true self. Before we venture into true self, we should be clear that we are in the right direction. Okay, we see this world, magnificent world. Okay, people derive happiness and misery out of the world. Right? I get something, I become happy. I lose something, I become unhappy. Okay, so most of our transactions are with the world because we never want to, we don't seek the self naturally. We hold the world responsible for misery and suffering as well as happiness and joy. We think that world is responsible for our misery and happiness. The viewpoint of Advaita and Sri Ramana Maharshi is that world has nothing to do with your happiness and misery. When I say world, includes your friends, your enemies, everything. The world has no relationship to your happiness and misery. Okay, world is inert, it's unconscious, insentient. Okay, that insentient world cannot do anything for you. But of course, your projection, your identification, your attachment to the world can cause you happiness and misery. But world itself cannot do anything for you. It's insentient. Not only it's insentient, it is temporary also. Actually, it's like it's an illusion, like a mirage in a desert. The mirage appears, but there is no water. Like that, world appears in consciousness, but there is no world as such. Okay. The world is appearing in consciousness. Consciousness is the background, just like mirage. So you can't get your thirst removed by drinking water of mirage. Like that, happiness and unhappiness cannot come from the world. So this is the position of Advaita and Sri Ramana Maharshi. Then how do you know that our nature is happiness? I feel happy. I am seeking happiness. Our nature is happiness. How do I know? Sometimes I feel happy. Sometimes I feel unhappy. You are saying that happiness and unhappiness doesn't come from the world. Where it's coming from? The happiness is coming from within. It is my nature of myself. How do I know that? In deep sleep, I feel blissful. It is a universal experience. Everybody feels that. Why do you feel blissful? Because there's no world, there's no mind, there's no ego. So, ego, world, and mind are actually covering your happiness. Huh? Okay. So, in deep sleep, we feel happy, blissful. In the deep sleep, there is no ego, there's no world, there's no mind. And happiness is felt not because of the world, but because of your own nature. Right? You realize that your own nature is happiness. And everybody in the world desire that deep sleep every day. Without this deep sleep, we go mad. Right? So the deep sleep state is desired by everybody because it is a state of happiness, bliss. So you have got the formula for bliss. No world, no mind, no ego. Okay. Which is nothing but your own self, Atma. So Atma is of the nature of happiness. Everybody seeks that. So we have, and world also, which was appearing solid in the morning, disappears in deep sleep. That means world is not real. When the world is disappeared, this bliss of the self is shining by itself. So what about some happiness, little bit happiness I get by eating jalebi or watching a movie? Because when you eat jalebi or watching a movie, your mind becomes silent momentarily. When the mind becomes silent momentarily, the happiness of the self is what you experience. So happiness comes from within, not from outside at all. This is the teaching of Vedanta Advaita. So now the question comes, how do I attain that state of happiness permanently? The answer is very simple. You have to drop the ego. How do you drop the ego? Inquire who am I, find the source of ego, and when you find the source of ego, the ego merges with the self. So you will attain a state of eternal happiness.